dolphins. Don't you just love them? What an amazing life they have. They jump high and they crash back in the ocean. They surf waves. And as a matter of fact, I think the crashing is the objective. They are so at one with their environment. Maybe that's why they're so happy. I met a wild dolphin once. Well, actually more than once, but the first time was I was just a kid, 10 years old. And at that age, the world is full of adventure. I was on one that day, exploring a deserted beach. And up ahead, crossing the beach, the sea walls were built of huge boulders that sure looked like fun to climb. So I get to the top, and there below me is a wide, fast-flowing river escaping into the sea. I climb down and sit, my feet close to the rushing water. I can feel the power of the river, and it was deep. I mean, I was looking into a luminous dark blue with no bottom. I watch two dolphins play in the strong current 200 yards away on the other side, jumping and having fun with joy, as they do. And then suddenly, one of the dolphins surfaced right under my feet. Swimming in place in the strong current, the dolphin rolled onto its side to look up at me. I'm staring eye to eye with a wild dolphin at his or her invitation. I'm staring into this amazing eye staring back at me. It was magical. I felt that dolphin and I connected. We communicated that day. I know that might sound a little strange. I was 10 years old. But that moment has powerfully stayed with me my entire life. It allowed me to see, before I even had the language for it, that joy, connection, and intelligence aren't just human traits. They are everywhere in the natural world. That moment was a spark that set off a fire in my heart that continues to guide me. I wrote a film with a simple message. Maybe it was the message my friend the dolphin shared with me that day. We'll never know for sure, but I believe it's possible. The idea was to provoke new thinking and an understanding of the similarity between species, to show that we are not separate, we are part of the same life. We had planned a very dramatic way to launch the film. I pitched the idea to the then CEO of a huge international beverage company, and I'm standing in his conference room making helicopter noises. That's the rotors. We are in a helicopter racing across the desert, flying low to the ground. There's urgency to the sound of the rotors, and inside the chopper, we are looking out on a very dark landscape. Out of the dark, we see a glow, a light, way off in the distance. The light becomes brighter and grows as the helicopter races toward it. We hear the faint sound of music getting louder. And boom, what comes into view is a huge music concert. 20,000 people out in the middle of nowhere in the Australian desert. The soundtrack of the film was to be a music score, only music. The film is running on a very large screen with the Sydney Philharmonic Orchestra playing the score. I was told later that my pitch brought the CEO to tears. I took that as a win. So we got to work until we run headlong into the recession of the early 90s, and our funding went out the window, the project collapsed. All those years of rejection created and taught me a lot about resilience, and a healthy dose of resilience has been a handy tool to have. I'm determined to resurrect the film. I believe, really believe, this idea's time has come. And now, you are part of it. To create meaningful change in a challenged ecosystem, we need to shift the way we think and act. Understanding our relationship with nature is key. But our understanding of nature has been, in the past, through the prism of looking at ourselves. In the past, we were referred to life, well, when we referred to life, we simply meant us humans. Everything else was peripheral, just an unimportant part. For most of our history, even today, we aren't able to see the truth. Our planet is alive with one interconnected life. One planet, one life. There is an intelligence to life. Life is bigger than us, and I believe it is different from the way we see it. It's not easy to look at life in a way that is different from our experience, to ask what is life. And by the way, the scientists don't really have an answer to that question, what is life? And try it now. Think about it a different way, different from what you have believed your entire life. It's difficult to do and certainly needs more than a minute of reflection. There is an intelligence to life. Life is bigger than us, and I believe it is different from the way we see it. It's not easy to look at life in a way that is different from our experience, to ask what is life. Shinto philosophy provides a very eloquent interpretation of life. Life is the activity that briefly takes form as beings. Hear that again. Life is the activity that briefly takes form as beings. So, here's the thought to start you off. It's not scientific fact, of course, I'm just saying. What if? What if life was not a physical being or a collection of beings, but purely the energy that the scientists tell us pervades the entire universe? Physics tells us something surprising, that even empty space isn't truly empty. It quietly hums with energy and activity. What if that was life? An intelligent system at work. We can't see it, but we can feel it. Did you know that atoms in our bodies were forged in ancient stars? Carl Sagan declared we are made of star stuff. How did we get it so wrong? Well, imagine a virus inside a body. The life inside the body is its entire universe. There is nothing beyond the boundaries, and that is what the virus experiences. Of course, our universe is much, much bigger. We know that. However, like the virus, our understanding is based on what we see, what we experience, and what we've been told. For millennia, we've been told repeatedly to believe we are separate from nature, with language that said we must conquer, tame, dominate nature. So, how has that worked out for us? I venture to say not very well. Wildfires, floods, and increasingly regular, more powerful storms bring massive destruction. We are powerless to control these forces. And the expectation is they will grow even more severe. The truth is, we are not separate from nature. We are only a part, a tiny part of the genius that is life. Nature is life. Our world is becoming more and more high-tech. And somewhere along the way, many of us began to believe that technology is the solution to almost everything. But life, our life system, operates on what I like to call an analog system. Simple, but brilliantly effective. What do I mean? Well, think about birds. They eat seeds, then fly around, and they poop out the seeds, and which grow into new trees. Pretty analog, huh? No high-tech here. It happens through the intelligence of the system. We didn't do that. Life did it on its own. Nature doesn't just survive, nature innovates. And this life system thinks and reacts and creates. It is analog to life, genius working. Eat or be eaten isn't how I would like to describe my day. But that's what wild animals deal with every day. I would imagine it's probably a tough life being a wild animal. But wild animals have families. They have kids. They love their kids. They educate them on how to survive in their world. That is sentient. Healthy and strong wolves hunt and bring back food for the pack, especially for the elderly who can no longer hunt. That's a community. These are sentient experiences. It seems to me there is no difference when you compare it with the human experience. Systems science and systems thinking go hand in hand and teaches us that in living systems, disharmony anywhere is felt everywhere because the system remembers itself as one body. That's what's happening for us now with wildfires, floods, and extreme storms. What's out of sync in our system? I think a lot. But first and foremost it's us. We do not understand our part in nature. That nature is life and we are only a part of it. But systems can regenerate. They can be healed. In 1926, we eliminated the last wolves from Yellowstone. It was misguided, but seemed reasonable policy at the time. But in the decades that followed, elk surged, forests thinned, rivers shifted. The land was responding. So in 1995, wolves were reintroduced because we had begun to understand that living systems are not collections of parts, but they are relationships. When wolves returned to Yellowstone, they did not enter a devastated wilderness. They entered a system out of balance. Their return triggered what ecologists called a trophic cascade. Wolves didn't just reduce the elk population, they changed elk behaviour. Elk stopped lingering in the valleys and along the rivers. Willows, aspens and cottonwoods began to recover. Beavers returned. Vegetation stabilised the riverbanks. Erosion slowed. And over time, the rivers began moving back toward their natural course. And the life of those rivers flourished. With the willows along the bank growing anew, beavers strategically started damming, which created safe places for fish to spawn. With a growing fish population, the rivers became healthier and more abundant. That's the genius of interconnected systems. For us, it was a lesson in the importance of biodiversity and the apex predator's role in maintaining healthy ecosystems. That's the genius of analogue life at work. We, the human species, are part of that genius. So, we need to get serious here. I mean, it's very arrogant of us to think we can attack the very fabric of life without consequence. The sixth mass extinction event, the Anthropocene extinction, is happening now. Scientists warn we could lose up to 1 million species from this event. And, let's get real, without substantial change, like a complete 180 in our thinking, in our understanding and in our actions, we will not achieve the change we need. And there is every chance the human species will not survive this current event if we keep doing what we're doing. For the scientists, the extinction of the human species is a maybe. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Well, maybe it's time for a rethink. A system that requires constant growth, that measures success in how much growth has been achieved, is no longer a viable system. We are exhausting the planet's resources. This is greed conveniently called growth. We need to embrace a replacement paradigm. What is that? A system rooted in respect for all life. A system rooted in reciprocity, not extraction. A system rooted in regeneration, not endless growth. The growth we need is growth in our thinking and growth in our understanding and growth in our communities. One of the greatest dangers facing life on the planet is we think someone else would take care of it. Sorry to tell you, there is no one else. There is only us. There is power in the collective people. We know from history people power works. Only we, all of us, can bring about the changes that are necessary. Changes that we demand of our governments, changes in our lives, changes that are necessary for the survival of our species and a million others. I know what you are thinking. What can I do, you ask? The problem is so huge. Where do we start? Well, it's a reasonable question. You can start by asking for paper bags at the supermarket. That's easy. You can try supporting environmental organisations. Show an interest in indigenous wisdom. The UN reports that 5% of the world's population protect 80% of the planet's biodiversity. Maybe they know something. Take your kids for a walk in the nature and introduce them. Take yourself into nature. Just go and hang out for some forest bathing. We don't relax in forests because they're peaceful. We relax because they are systems we still belong to. No action is too small. A million small actions create a large action. Ask yourself, what action, big or small, can I take today? And I mean today. There is no time for us to wait and see. This crisis will not be turned around by a single battle. We are winning some big ones, but the fight goes on. It will happen with courage from those on the front lines, with the voices of many and organisations backing them. We will make it happen. Humans are not witnesses to nature. We are events within it. Awareness did not begin with us, nor will it end here. One planet, one life. Think about it.